Okay, a couple of you requested, actually a lot of people requested a tutorial on how to create a player face in Madden 25. People are creating faces obviously for 26. It's a minor change. I'm just going to do it for 25 since I haven't started making faces for 26, but it's a minor change, and you just go to the Discord and there's tutorials on how to do that. Okay, so this is how I make faces. I'm going to try and make an easier one so that it doesn't take so much time, but the really good ones that I make can take some time, and so just recognize that that is absolutely a process. Okay, so first thing I do is make sure I got all the tools that I need. So first thing you're going to need is the Frosty Editor. All these things you can get on the Madden Discord, which is this channel here. And right now I've been primarily working in here, making faces for the 1994 mod. I just got done making John Taylor's face, which took me about an hour and 15 minutes. Okay, so you're going to need the Frosty Editor. You can get this on the Discord. Open this up. Okay, so the player faces are going to be over here on the left. You're going to go to characters, characters, players, and then here's a list of all the players, including the generics, that are in the game. Okay, so I just have that open. Next thing I'm going to do is think about who I want to make. Right now I know that in the mod, let's see, if we go to players needed, you can kind of see a lot of these I've already done, a lot of those others have done. I saw that Leon Lett was not made yet, so let's just go ahead and try and make him. And so the first thing I'll do is just Google Leon Lett face. Alright, if anybody knows the 90s, you know how terrifying this individual was, and he does not have a cyberface in the game. So first thing I do is go to tools, I go to size, I go to large. Okay, and it's tough because you want a face where he's facing you, you know, like a roster face, but a lot of the retro players didn't have good roster faces. Let's see, Leon Lett face, roster maybe. Yeah. It's difficult. So if you use Getty Images, you just click on it, this will open up all sorts of old historic pictures. In here you can usually find something manageable. So this one's not bad, but he's looking off to the side, it's kind of dark. This one's a little bit better, but he's smiling. The ideal is just like face forward, well lit, and oh man, that doesn't look good. Oh, that one's not bad, but he's a little bit older, which is it's a bummer too. All right, let's keep going, see what we can find. So maybe we can work with this. I don't know, difficult. Let's see what else we can find. Yeah, if anybody knows like places where you can find old stock images of these players, that would be nice. Maybe we'll go with where was it? Let's go back. Maybe I'll go with this one. How are there no good pictures of Leon Lett? The guy was so good for so long. Let's try just Leon Lett. Oh, there we go. That'll do. So open up new. Perfect. So now we're going to go to snipping tool. We're going to go to new. Take this. Desktop, save. Okay. So we got our face. Another good thing to do is see if you can get a picture where he's looking off to the side. This will help you with a profile. So even though this is kind of a gruesome picture, this will work. because we want this profile here. See where my mouse is? This will help you when you're sculpting to get the proportions right. We're going to take another one here. Gotta love 90s football. Okay, next piece is, and this is the time-consuming part that's going to be super annoying for you guys to watch. If you go to Madden 26, you can get a list of all the players. Well, they're just listed, basically. Yeah. And what I'll do is, so my method, what I do is I find players that have face scans that are made by EA in the game. I use their faces as like a base model, and then I put a texture on that base model, and then I sculpt it to make it a fully different person, but like having features that are kind of similar. Yeah. So what I'll do here is filter. We know Leon Lett's a big boy, so let's go to positions, and let's just set for. A lot of the offensive linemen don't have faces. Left tackles typically do, and then your defensive linemen usually do, because everybody likes defensive linemen. Let's see. Let's do edge. Maybe we'll do that, and maybe right tackle too. Apply filters. Okay, now you're going to get a list of the top players at those positions. Yeah. And I'll just kind of zoom in to make it a little easier. And now you basically just need to find a player that you think looks similar to the player you're trying to make. And this means also hair, right? So if we look at Leon Lett, we can see that early on in his career he did have hair up here, so that's okay. But not a lot of facial hair. So no facial hair, maybe a light mustache, no hair on top, or a little bit of hair on top. Micah Parsons not bad, but he does have a beard. Let's keep going. This is actually, he's not bad. Dexter Lawrence. Should we try him? Why don't we just do that, since this is for a tutorial. Yeah, let's take a look real quick. It's not bad. I think we can probably work with this. Okay, so now we have to see if he's actually got a face scan in the game. So we're going to go to, we have our player list here. We're going to go Dexter Lawrence. So we need L. Let's take one more time. Look, L-A-W. Let's see. Yes, he's in the game. So here is Dexter Lawrence in the game. He has a face scan. So here are all the files that you're going to need. Okay. The first one is the texture file. And we're going to go to export. It's going to export as a PNG. Let's get rid of all these so we don't get confused. Delete. Delete. Okay, so now we only have those, and let's do this again. Export. Save. Okay, then we're going to need the mesh. So the color file is a texture file. And if you go down to mesh, this is actually the model. Okay, over here on the right, very important, where it says compute graph, you're going to click on these three little dots. You're going to clear assigned object. Okay, then you're going to go to export, and you're going to want to make sure you have these parameters set for Frosty export. Skeleton, character skeleton, version FBX 2012, scale, centimeters, flatten hierarchy is the only thing checked. Okay, export to desktop as well. Okay. I'm going to keep this one a little bit shorter than I typically do because I don't want to make this too boring, but I will tell you what you can do to make the textures better. Okay, so here are our files that we're going to need, right? We have our two images, and we have our texture file, and here is our Blender mesh. Okay, so this implies obviously you're going to need Blender. You can find Blender on the Discord as well. There's a package that'll give you all of this stuff, but you really don't need any of this stuff. Yeah, this was done by, and I got to give some props to this person. If you go up to 26, modding, this New York Giants for life, he made a wonderful tutorial that got me started, and he does a lot of faces too, and he makes some pretty wacky and cool stuff, so check his stuff out. He showed me, or his tutorial showed me how to get started. Yeah. So once you have Blender installed, just open Blender. Okay. You're going to see this. Don't worry about this. In the top right corner, you're going to see camera, cube, and light. Highlight all of these and just delete them. You don't need them. Okay. Now you're going to go to File in the top left corner. You're going to go down to Import. Then you're going to go import FBX. Then go to Desktop, and then you're going to find your mesh that you exported from Frosty. Okay, then you're going to zoom in, and here we have our mesh. Top right corner again. Here's a little arrow that you can. This will open the asset. Okay, under Reference, you're going to hit the eyeball to close the skeleton. We don't need that, and you're going to close everything except for the head LOD 0 match LOD 000. This is the one you need. The other ones can all stay closed. Click on the head. Okay, so here we see it's highlighted on the right. Okay, then you're going to hit, I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but on my keyboard in the right bottom side, you're going to see a delete where the numpad is. There's a little delete with a little square button on it. If you click that, it'll zoom in. Okay. And then, top left again, you go to View and go to Perspective Orthographic. That'll line it up so that you can really zoom in to work on this thing. Yeah. Okay, next piece, we need to get the mesh in there, but we're not going to use the mesh associated with this face, right? We got to make a new face. So I'm going to minimize this first. Okay, here comes the kind of tricky part. Okay. All right, the next website you're going to need is this website. It's called AI Face Swap. Okay. And this will allow you to create a new texture. So see, we have this player here who's got like a light beard, but it matches pretty closely with Leon Let here. Yeah, but I don't want that beard in there, right? And then when you run the AI tool, it'll put that on there because it's trying to match the texture file. I'll get to that in just a second. So let's first work on this texture very simply. Okay, so the other program you're going to need is paint.net. It's free online. You can download it. So go to paint.net, download it. Okay, we're opening this up in here. I'm going to zoom in, and this is a little bit of an arduous process, but it doesn't really matter because the AI is going to do some work for us. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Clone Stamp tool, and I'm going to increase the brush size to let's do 65. Okay. So the Clone Stamp tool allows you to clone any part of the face and then use it to work somewhere else. So you hit Control and click. Now it's going to use this part here, and now you can see how that works. You can override other things with this, which is kind of nice. Yeah. So again, we want that beard gone, right? And it's not going to be perfect. Oh, you can adjust the hardness here. I usually like to go down so that it's not such an abrupt change in the texture. Okay, so here's some shading. Let's use this. And like I said, it doesn't need to be perfect. We just want to get rid of that beard so that the AI doesn't put the beard on the new texture as well. Okay, so you can see it's not perfect, but it's all good. Okay, let's keep going here. Getting there. You can see like it's not perfectly even. You can get way more granular with this stuff later when you're actually making the face to what you want it. So don't like worry about it too much, I'd say. Okay, we're almost there. Okay. Alright, not perfect, but something like this. Okay. Let's go maybe a little bit more. Something like that. Okay. So we have successfully removed the beard. Okay, and he's got like this weird mustache here. Let's go back to our picture again. Yeah, he has that here, but you know the AI is going to do some work for us. Okay, so let's zoom out. Let's save this file. Save. Okay. Close it. Keep that up. We're going to need that for later. Okay, so now we're going to go to this website, aifaceswap.io/ the rest here. Just take a look. And you're going to click your texture file you just worked on. So there's that. Now we're going to put in the image of Leon Lett that we want to have the AI use to create a new texture. And we're going to hit start swapping. Okay, we're going to have to do this again. Sometimes it times out. Boom. Okay. It's actually pretty good. It's not bad at all. So now let's go to upscale. Upscale it. It's going to take a minute, so bear with me. Actually, the AI sometimes doesn't do that great of a job. Yeah, but this worked out pretty well. Download it. Okay, let's bring it over. Okay, so here we have our original and our AI created face. Okay. Okay, so here's where what I do to make this even better, and it's finicky, yeah, is to go into ChatGPT, okay, and this is what I do. I throw in the, you're going to need to rename those because ChatGPT is going to think that you're like making deep fakes or whatever. Change the original color file to something like custom, not real. Yeah, and then the AI face swap. You can just leave that there for now. Let's actually no, we don't need to do that, but we're just going to do this one as well. Custom, not real, and then let's do this one as the original. We'll just type in original texture. Okay, so then we have the custom, not real. So if I wanted to, yeah, sometimes it does a really good job, sometimes it's really bad, which is annoying. But you can throw this into ChatGPT. I have ChatGPT 5, okay, so that's like where you pay for it. But you can do a couple of them in the base ChatGPT as well. I can throw this in here and say, keep proportion or create a higher quality texture of this created face. Keep all proportions exactly as they are. Do not change mouth size and position or any other features like eyes, nose, and lips. Create higher quality texture of this created face. Keep all proportions exactly as they are. Do not change mouth size and position or any other features like eyes, nose, and lips. Only change the texture quality. Okay. And sometimes it'll look at this and not like it. I don't know. You have to like, you know, figure out how to talk to AI. You know, at some point this is going to be ruining our lives. So in the meantime, let's have some fun before the world ends. This is going to take a while. Okay, so while this is working, I'll show you how to do the easier process. Okay, so let's minimize this. Okay, we got our pictures over here. So we have our original texture and the custom. Okay, so now open your original texture. This is the one that we exported that we originally worked on. Okay, and you're going to go to image. You're going to go to resize. You're going to do 2048 by 2048. Okay, that's just going to increase the quality a little bit. File, save. Okay. Okay, and then we're going to go to layers, and you're going to go to import from file. And you're going to find that AI file that we wrote custom not real, this one. Okay, so now we have the new texture over the texture from the game. Okay. Now go to the left here and you're going to go to, so I always want to test to see how everything lines up. Go to eraser. Let's go to like 50. Let's go even more. Let's go to like 95, so it's pretty big. And you can keep the hardness up for now, and we just want to see how the mouth lines up. So this is actually really good. That's not bad at all. How about the nose? Nose is looking good. Eyes, beautiful. Ears, yeah. This is actually surprisingly good. Okay, so let's make this a little bit better. The corners of the mouth can be a problem. So what I usually do is I go down to like, let's say 35, reduce the strength of your eraser tool, and just get the corners a little bit. And maybe, you know, maybe we just do all the lips too. So now we're just having the original lip texture instead of the texture made by the AI, because it'll line up perfectly, and then we can just work on the mesh or work on sculpting. I do this with the ears too, because ears always kind of turn out horrifically. The original ones are usually always better. It sucks though if your color is off a little bit. The color of the AI generated image and the player that I chose to copy is actually very close, which makes this nice. Okay, let's go up to the eyes. You're going to want to make it smaller and zoom in. And here is the eye. This removes the texture layer so that the game works out in the game. Yeah, so like when he blinks, it's not like there's not like an open eye as an eyelid, if that makes sense. Okay, so all this is pretty good. Even the nose, yeah, we don't really need to do anything there. You know, if it lines up really good like this, sometimes it's easier just to keep the in-game or not in-game, the actual character mesh is always going to be better quality. So if things line up nicely, just use that one. That's why I erase it. Okay. Let's go back to our AI. Yeah, I don't know why it made this. So this is what I put in there, and this is what it made, which is ridiculous. I think it's because of what I was working on earlier. See, it just did the same thing again. So I probably need to start a new chat Yeah, I need a new chat and then do that process again, and it might create a really good quality image. Yeah. Should we try it one more time? Let's try it one more time. So here's the original. Oh wait, no, not the original. We want this one. Custom. Please make this texture higher quality. Keep all features exactly where and how they are. Do not change the size of anything like lips, size and position. Etc. Just make the texture higher quality, please. No, we're just going to demand it. Okay, we're going to have that continue to go while we're working on stuff. Okay. So we have this now that we just worked on. Okay, and we have our Blender. Ooh, I still have all my other stuff open. Let's close all these. We don't need these. Sorry. This is other stuff I was working on. Oh, that's the one we need. Let's close this one. We don't need this one. That's the one I just finished, and it's good. Okay, so here was the one that we opened earlier. Okay. Okay, so make sure your head is clicked over here, and the only eyeball that's on is for the 000 head mesh or LOD. Okay, and you want to go to, okay, on this right side here, if you go down, you're going to see this material. Click on that, then you're going to click on the plus symbol. Okay, now go to the top and you're going to go to shading. Okay. Okay, in here, you're going to hit Shift A in this field here, Shift A, then go down to Texture, scroll up to Image Texture. It's going to create a box. Connect this color with this base color, go to Open, go to Desktop, and then find your Custom Not Real is what we were working on, and then click on it, and here's our mesh, or our texture, excuse me. Okay, now let's go back to Layout, top left, go to Layout, and up here in the top right where you can see my mouse, go to this middle one. Now we can see our texture on our player head. So this is a created texture, right? Okay, so now comes the fun part, I think, where you actually sculpt the face. So we're going to go to, instead of object mode, you're going to go to sculpt mode. And I like to use the grab. So instead of draw, click and go to grab. And I usually start like right around here as far as strength. Strength is right around there, radius. And as you get good at this, you're going to figure out how to get really better on this. If you hit, here you see X, Y, Z. If you hit the X button, which is really nice, if you make a change on one side, it'll make a change on the other side, which is kind of nice. It keeps things symmetrical so that you don't have to be perfect. Like if you make some alterations on the left, then you got to turn the head and make it on the right. If you have X, it can make alterations on both sides. Sometimes though, these, I don't know what it is. Like look right here. See, if I go up to the nose, see how the left dot is right where you, like if I want to make a change to this side of the nose, the right one's way out over here and vice versa. That's a problem. And you can just turn off the X and then you can work individually if you want to be more precise. Okay. But I always start big, right? We want to start with the big changes first. So I usually minimize this a little bit, and then I go back to our pictures. And let's start with the front picture. Okay. Here's Leon Lett, a little bit older. Okay, so we can see he has a much rounder face, not such like a clean jawline. So let's start first with the jawline. Okay. We're going to need to make this, so this is going to need to be dealt with first. So what I usually do is, for bigger players like this, is you grab and pull. So now we can see Leon Lett's taking a little bit more form here. His face looks like it's pretty short. Let's see here. Yes. So here we can see where his chin is. It drops down pretty significantly. So we're going to kind of do the same until you get it looking like how you think it looks in real life. That's pretty good. Maybe a little bit more. Something like this. Okay. And here we can also see, like, if you line up the face the way he's looking in the image, you can see we need to work on the cheeks a little bit. This looks actually pretty good. This needs to come out a little bit. Cheeks need to come out a little bit. So let's do the cheeks first. I'm going to turn the radius up a little bit, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to grab here, and I'm going to pull. Yeah, it's not even. We need more. Let's go bigger radius, and we're going to grab and we're going to pull. Grab, pull, grab, pull. And the slower and the carefuler you are, the easier it's going to be later to like fix things. Yeah. So if we zoom out again, try to line up that perspective. It's not terrible. Yeah. Okay, now let's go up to the eyebrow. He has a pretty good sharp eyebrow bone there. So let's go radius down, zoom in, and we're gonna grab. See, this is a tough one. Like if I go to the one side, they line up. They're lining up not so bad. Okay, let's just give it a shot. So just make it a little pointier. So now if we go to that same perspective again, it's pretty good. Let's check the other side. Also pretty good. Okay. One thing I also like to do is to look down the middle and see if the eyebrows and everything's kind of lining up, just to make sure you don't got anything wonky. Yeah. Okay, now let's go to nose. The nose is actually surprisingly good. The mouth is not as wide. See that? So let's turn our radius up. We're going to zoom in. We're going to grab the corners. Do you see how? Look at this. In the texture, the mouth goes longer than the actual model's mouth because this is a created texture. Let's fix that. So we can go back to our texture, and we can remove even more. Where's that coming from? Let's go back to shading. Oh, we pulled the wrong texture. Which one do we need? Custom not real? Am I losing my mind? Oh, did we forget to save it? We forgot to save this picture. Duh. Okay. Now let's go to File, Save, and you're going to save this as a PNG. Don't forget that. And let's title this Let1. Save it to your desktop. It's going to say flatten, hit flatten. Okay. This is my bad. Okay. So remember how we added the texture here? Go to this little folder thing and now pick the new one. Let1. And then we click on now we're talking. Okay. So now see, it's better now. Okay. It's not as dark. Okay. We need to make the mouth closer together. See that? So we're going to grab and we're just going to go like this. Pull inside. A little bit more maybe. Something like this. And then you're going to always want to turn and see how does this look. See how his lips look pretty flat there. We're going to have to deal with that too. Radius down. I usually with the lips I don't do the proportion tool when I'm doing really like needlework like this. You can see his lips are pretty flat, so you're going to want to get these pointy spots and you're going to want to push them in. And this is where, you know, how patient are you? Some people will probably just burn through this. It drives me nuts to not have it look as good as possible. So I will try and get it really good first try so that it doesn't bother me later. Okay, that's pretty good. That bottom left is definitely dangling way farther down on this original. We're turn up the radius a little bit, and we're gonna pull that in. Okay. And you see there's not such a big drop off under this bottom lip here in this picture. So let's pull here a little bit and make this a little bit flatter. How's that look? It's looking okay. If you're not sure if you're like, if your proportions are wonky, you can click on this one, and this one will give you like a view without the texture if you want. That's pretty good. Okay. Not bad. Yeah, we could probably pull it in even a little bit more. How are we looking here? Pretty good. Okay, let's keep it like that. Okay. Let's go back. Look at that nose. So we can see it's actually really close. It's a little tighter here. So I'm going to hit the X button again to work with the symmetry tool. I'm going to grab it and I'm going to pull them together a little bit. Looks like here as well. Here as well a little bit. And then what does his nose look like again? Let's go over here. Yes, he's got a really small nose. So we can go here again and let's turn this off. Actually, we can keep that on. And let's push that guy in a little bit. Or a lot of it. Think like this. That's pretty good. Okay, do you see how the mesh that we created, see how it's like doesn't line? That's going to happen, you know what I mean? And this is where it gets tedious. I usually do a little bit of this work just because it annoys me. If you zoom in close, you can grab these and pull them to have it line up a little bit better. That's about as much as I'm going to do there. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so what about the nostrils? Are they... Yeah, do you see how they're like pointing a little bit further down? Go like this, radius, zoom in, and we're going to grab, and we're going to just pull down a little bit. Something like that. Okay, now look at his lips here. You can see they kind of, the bottom lip kind of goes down, and there's like a piece right here that kind of goes down as well. I always try to get as close as I can. So here we can maybe do a little bit of this, and maybe the corners down a little bit. Something like that. He's got a pretty big upper lip. So let's pull here a little bit. Let's do our symmetry tool and see if we can pull. That's looking pretty good. Let's make this smaller, and now that we pulled up, we want to get that volume back. So you can see it's a tedious game, right? The face making, depending on how much time you want to work on this. Okay. Oh, we can go back and see what he made us. See, look at this. Look how much better that is. But the problem a lot of the times is it doesn't line up perfectly, as like the other one did from that face swapping site. But for the purposes of this, I'm just going to use the one we have. When I actually make Leon Let, I'm going to work with this one. Okay, so you can do the same process with this one, but it might be that the proportions are a little off, so you're going to have to play more in the paint.net, or if you have like Photoshop, to work with the texture more. But as you can see, this is like a really good texture. Yeah. Okay. So this is looking pretty good. Yeah, looking pretty good. What about the ears? Oh yeah, ears. He's got tiny ears. Oh, and this guy has kind of tiny ears too. But we can see, I always look at the proportions. Okay, the ear is lower than the eyebrow. Okay, so, and I never do the symmetry one, because look here, if I want to work on this one, this ear over here, I'm working on the side of the head, yeah, which is stupid. So we need to pull these down a little bit. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to grab and I'm going to pull down. Under the eyebrow. You see he has really small ears. Something like that, I think looks pretty good. Same one for the other side. Oops. How's that? That was still a little high. Okay. Maybe like that, yeah. There we go. Okay. Not bad. We can see the lips are pretty, the cheeks are really full here, but he's also smiling. You gotta take that into consideration, but it looks like he has really full cheeks here. So let's add that. Radius up. For the bigger adjustments, you can turn the radius up so that you can make bigger changes. Okay, and we're just going to grab and pull. Let's go back to this one. You can see his chin kind of narrows at the bottom there. It's not bad. Let's make it a little bit more. You can see the neck also does. But you got to remember, this picture also, he looks older in this picture. Younger Leon Lett probably looked, you know, a little different. So you got to take aging into consideration on some of these pictures. Let's make the chin a little more pointy here. That looks pretty good. Always check the top of the lip to the nose distance. See if that's pretty good. See, I feel like the nose is a little short. Yeah, let's pull everything up a little bit. Maybe like that, and then we'll pull the nose down a little bit. Lips up, nose down. Something like that. We're looking pretty good. Okay, and you can see how his head kind of gets smaller than his cheeks. We can change that. Here's the thing though, your hair meshes are separate files. So the more you mess with the head, the more it's going to look wonky. So I don't try to mess with the head too much. So what I'm going to do is just grab and make it a little more pointy. See how that didn't work very well on the right side because of the symmetry tool wasn't perfect. So this is, it takes a little bit of finesse to make sure you're not messing the proportions up so much. Yeah. We're getting the overall shape pretty good here. Yeah. Chin's looking pretty good. Head, it's smaller up here than the cheeks. The mouth looks pretty good. Might even be smaller than this, That bottom lip might not be as big. Yeah, so maybe we can turn our X on again and maybe just pull up a little bit. Maybe pull down a little bit. Something like that. Okay. All right, we are ready. Okay. Let's just do that for now. Okay. Okay, so you know how we went in here and we found Lawrence Dexter to do this with. Okay, so now what you're going to want to do, and this is one of the coolest things that the modding community put together. I think it was WeMaster, but I'm not sure. if you go to Tools, make sure you click on the Object Blueprint. This is the first one in this player file list. Go to Tools and go to Duplicate Face. Okay, here you can just create a new face name. So I'm going to do, and you're always going to want to do last name, first name. So let Leon, and then change the numbers a little bit. I actually don't know if this matters, but I do it anyway just because I'm paranoid. 205, let's do 00. Okay, and let's make sure. I don't want to be a total moron here and spell his name wrong. Leon Let. Yes, we did spell his name right. Okay, right, I mean. Okay, so now it's creating a duplicate face. And here's an important piece. You got to find where he would belong, right? So here we go to Content, Characters, go to Player, Players, and we see his last name starts with an L. You're going to go down to L and just highlight it, and then you're going to click Save. Now Frosty's going to duplicate that asset here. So now we just basically created this player, and we're going to go to our color file. Here's our texture. We're going to go to Import, and we're going to find the one we worked on, which was Let1. Double click, import it. Boom. Mesh. Okay, we have to import over this mesh. So now let's go back here. Okay, this you have to be very careful here, okay? So in the sculpt mode, go up to sculpt mode, go to object mode. Okay, and you're gonna open up all the eyes. Okay, and make sure that none of these are turned off either. These have to be all on. Okay, then you're gonna hit Control and make sure every single one of these LODs is highlighted, including the collection. So they're all on, all highlighted. You're in object mode. File, Export, FBX. Okay, very important here. On the right side, these settings have to be exactly like how I'm going to show you. Select objects. Armature and mesh need to be selected only. Okay, everything else is the same. Go to Geometry, and you're going to click on Triangulate Faces and Tangent Spaces. That's it. Okay, so have all of these looking exactly like this. Okay, good. Now we need to save it, and we're going to title this. Let's title this Leon Let Face. I'm going to save this to our desktop. Export. Boom. Okay, let's go back to Frosty, and we are now going to import over the game mesh, the player mesh, the EA mesh. Yeah. Import at the top here. Leon Let Face. Import. Boom. So now look, we can see the model has changed to the one that we just worked on. Okay, everything's set. Now we make our mod. Go to File, Export to Mod, and you're going to put in whatever you want here. So I'm going to do Leon Let Face, author, KMac, version 1. I call them Cyberfaces, Cyberface. I have a modding icon I made for myself, and now I always put this in for users. I put the asset name in, let Leon underscore 20500. Okay, copy that so you don't have to go back and forth. Let Leon 20500, check on the left. Yep, that's what we made. Okay, then you're going to hit save. Okay, now you got to find your mod manager. Okay, so we had the Frosty Editor. Now we need the mod manager. Yeah, this is where your mods are. Go to mods, Madden 25, and here's all your mods. And here you're going to name it again, Leon Let Face. Okay, save it. So now we have to assign the asset name. This asset name that we created, let Leon underscore 20500, we need to assign it. So we're going to go to our My Franchise tool. We're going to find our franchise. We are going to find our player. We're going to go to Dallas. Roster. Leon Let is probably one of the best players. Here he is. Defensive tackle. Actions. Edit. Okay, and then here is an asset name. This was an auto-generated asset name, so you don't have to worry about this. We're going to paste ours in there that we just made. Save, save, close, boom, boom. Now we are going to run our mod. Open up your mod manager. Okay, here's all of our mods. I just got done doing John Taylor's face earlier. Here's Leon Letts on the left. Apply mod, move it up so that it's there. Okay, it's activated. It has to be after the splash screen mod. This is a 1994 mod specialty thing that you have to do. Okay. Okay, now he's in. The mod is in. It's activated with the Madden franchise tool. We're ready to go. Let's launch the game. It's going to take just a minute because EA games take forever. Because they're not well optimized, because most things that EA does is not very good. But we all love football, so we're kind of stuck. Okay, game is launching. At some point, it'll launch. There we go.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Beautiful 1994 mod. By far the greatest mod on the Discord, in my opinion. Okay, splash screen. Alright, let's open up our franchise. Okay, let's go to the roster. We're going to find the Cowboys. And we're going to go down to defensive tackle. Leon Lett. There's our boy. Let's check him out. Look at that. Not bad at all. So this is, here's another thing, right? You can kind of see Blender, right? If we go back to our Blender, we can see how it looks a little bit different here comparatively to in game, right? So this is something, if you want to do further alterations, what you can do is, like, I don't like how far his cheek is out here. I think it's kind of ridiculous, right? So what I'll do now is I'll go back, highlight this, go back to sculpt, and maybe I'll just make that a little bit smaller. Something like that. It's not as pronounced. Also, maybe his forehead or his eyebrow is also a little bit like it's poking out a little too much on that one side. So maybe I'll just change it a little bit, make it a little more uniform. Okay, how about that? Okay. Now it's not as pronounced. So this is the finicky part, guys. You got to go back and forth until you feel like it looks good, right? So file, export. I'll just delete the one I just made. My settings are still here exactly like I had it. Export again. Go back into Frosty. Back to your mesh. Import. Do the one that has slightly less full cheeks. File. Export to mod. This is already saved. Save. Find your Leon Lett face in here. Here it is. Hit play, save, overwrite. Restart the game, and you'll see your changes in here. Yeah? So, This is actually not bad at all. Yeah, total manageable face. Okay, that's the tutorial on how to do this. Like I said before, you can always use AI tools and kind of go back and forth with it. You might have to make some changes to get a really high quality mesh, or excuse me, texture if you want. But as you can see, we basically created Leon Lett here with like a younger version of him. The facial proportions look pretty good, and it didn't take us that long. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, I'll be in the Discord for the under KMac, which is right here. 2025. My classic faces. These are all the ones I made, and I'm usually in the 1994 mod discussion page if you have any questions. Okay, I will post this here shortly, and hopefully some of you guys who want to start doing this can start playing around and see what you can do. All right. Cool. That took a long time. An hour. All right. Peace.